My niece planned an extravagant wedding, expecting me to foot the entire bill. After I told her I won't pay for everything, she said I can't walk her down the aisle. When I was 13 years old, my parents died in a car crash. My sister was 18 years old at the time, and she chose to take me in, rather than let me end up in the system. She worked hard to earn enough to support us, and even held off on college to work 2 jobs. As soon as I was able, I got a job as well to help with the bills. I have always appreciated my sister for supporting me, and I have worked hard for the last decade to get myself in a position where I could afford to take care of her. I am now a manager for a really good company, and I spend most of my extra cash on my sister and her daughter. I have been very present in my niece's life, as my sister got pregnant while I was still living with her. I have paid for dance classes, summer camps, and school supplies for years. Every month we had a day where the 2 of us went out somewhere fun to hang out. When she turned 17, we didn't do that much together anymore though. Now my niece is 23 and engaged. She announced it to her mom and myself over dinner, and asked me to walk her down the aisle. I was ecstatic and immediately said yes. Then I offered to help with the wedding costs. A few weeks later, my sister and niece came to me to go over wedding costs for things she had picked out, and I almost fell out of my chair. They chose a cake worth over $5,000, some dress choices in the tens of thousands range, and a venue that would make the cost of my house seem cheap. I asked if the groom's family was pitching in, and my niece told me that it was mainly me that would be paying for everything. I sat her down and explained to her that I offered to pay a portion, not the entire thing, and certainly not as much as she was considering. She got really upset, and my sister said that I was going to ruin her daughter's big day. I told them I couldn't afford all of it, and it wasn't right. They were only depending on me for everything. My niece tried to guilt me by saying that I should be excited to walk her down the aisle at her dream venue. I told her the location shouldn't matter, and anywhere she walked down would be perfect, as I was honored to just be beside her. But they needed to change everything they had planned so far. A month goes by, and I didn't hear much from my sister or niece about the wedding. I just assumed they were busy and would get back to me. One day my sister showed up at my job, saying we needed to talk. I brought her to my office, and she explained to me that they both believed I would have changed my mind by now, so they went ahead and booked everything they had shown me earlier. But now they needed to start payments and couldn't afford any of it. I got angry and told her they had no right to spend money that wasn't theirs, especially when the person they thought was paying told them to not do it. My sister started crying, and I told her I would pay off the deposits and fees for cancellation, but because of that, I couldn't help with the wedding. She made a small scene, and I told her I couldn't do this with her while I was at work, otherwise they would get nothing from me. She left, and I have been receiving calls and texts from my sister and niece begging me to help pay for the wedding as well as pay off the debts they accrued. They accused me of manipulating them into thinking it was okay to spend a bunch of my money, only to pull out at the last second. My niece even told me she didn't want me to walk her down the aisle anymore. I am heartbroken, but standing firm on my decision. I will clear the debt they got into, thinking I'd change my mind, but the wedding cost is all on them.